Welcome back to Making a Murderer and our daily MaM reading. And we're doing the CASO documents for those of you that are just joining us. And we are doing 31, or page 31 through 40. So some of you have asked, what is the CASO documents? The CASO documents are the Calumet County Sheriff Officers Investigative Reports. They consist of eyewitnesses and the details of the investigation itself. You can tell what type of activity it is, what day it occurred on, and in this report that we're going to be doing, you can tell who the officer is that made the report. This is Investigator Mark Wiegert, and you can see that it's an interview with Ryan. So with that, let's get started. Page 31, type of activity, interview of Ryan J. Hilligus. Date of activity, 11:04 at 10:08 a.m. Reporting officer, Investigator Mark Wiegert. On 11:04:05 at approximately 10:08 a.m., I, Investigator Wiegert of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, along with Sheriff Pagel of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, went to Teresa Halbach's residence. Upon arrival, I met with Ryan Hilligus along with several other friends who were at her residence. Ryan stated the last time he had seen Teresa Halbach was on Sunday, 10:30:05. Ryan stated Teresa seemed completely normal, and they had talked about Halloween parties. He also told me Teresa was in very good spirits. Ryan described Teresa as being extremely independent. He told me he has known Teresa since they were freshmen in high school, and that they had dated on and off for approximately 5 years during that time. Ryan states Teresa previously lived at the address of 425 South Monroe Avenue, apartment 2L, in Green Bay. He stated she had moved back to the Hilbert area in November of 2004. That was the end of my conversation with Ryan. Investigator Mark Wiegert, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 32. Type of activity, interview of Jolene M. Bain. Date of activity, 11:04:05 at 10:35 a.m. Reporting officer, Investigator Mark Wiegert. On 11:04:05 at approximately 10:35 a.m., I, Investigator Wiegert of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, and Sheriff Pagel did meet with Jolene M. Bain at Teresa Halbach's residence. Jolene requested she be able to speak with us alone. At that time, several of Teresa's other friends did exit the room and went outside. Jolene states she and Teresa had become very good friends recently. According to Jolene, Teresa had confided in her about a relationship she had with a guy by the name of DJ Bradley. Jolene did not know the subject's real name. However, she states he does have a DJ service called DJ Bradley. Teresa confided in Jolene that Teresa had taken nude photographs of Bradley and his wife at the time. According to Jolene, after this, Bradley and his wife had broken up, and Teresa started dating Bradley. According to Jolene, Teresa stated to her that Bradley was weird, and she ended up breaking off the sexual relationship. Jolene did say that Teresa told her she, meaning Teresa, had gone to a court case between Bradley and his wife in reference to the photos and the negatives of the photos that she had taken of the two naked. She said this would have occurred approximately 5 to 7 months ago. According to Jolene, Teresa and Bradley would only have sex, and Teresa did not have any feelings for him, and it was only physical. She told me Teresa had told her that. According to Jolene, Bradley and his wife were having problems, and he would confide in Teresa about his problems. Teresa also had told Jolene at one time she did not want to continue the relationship. However, Teresa continued to receive phone calls from Bradley. At that time, Sheriff Pagel and I did go back to Teresa's bedroom. I did locate in a trunk directly next to Teresa's bed several nude photos of a male and a female. Included with those photos were several negatives. There was a portrait order from Pierce Photography which had the name Bradley and Casey Scheck, address of 6693 Highway 57, number 19, Greenleaf, Wisconsin 54126. It showed a phone number of 920-864-7110. I believe this to be the subject that Jolene had been referring to. Sheriff Pagel and I then left the residence. Page 33. Investigation continues. Investigator Mark Wiegert, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 34. Type of activity. Contact with U.S. Cellular. Date of activity 11/04/05. Reporting officer Investigator John Dietering. Documents generated none. On Friday 11/04/05 at 10:55 hours, I, Dietering, did contact U.S. Cellular in order to determine whether certain cellular phone numbers that had been obtained from Singular Wireless billing information of Teresa Halbach's computer regarding her cell phone activity. The reason for my call was to determine whether phone numbers still listed to U.S. Cellular Wireless were, in fact, still being serviced by U.S. Cellular, or had been ported to another provider. U.S. Cellular was very much less than cooperative, advising me that without proper documentation, they could not even provide me with the information of whether the cell numbers called by Teresa Halbach had been ported to another provider. Investigation continues. John Dietering, Investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 35. Type of activity. Follow-up. Date of activity 11/04/05. Reporting officer Lieutenant Kelly Sipple. On 11/04/05, I, Lieutenant Kelly Sipple of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, spoke with Sheriff Jerry Pagel, who provided me a list of telephone numbers from TDS Telecom. These numbers would have been long-distance phone calls placed from 920-989-2911. The phone calls date back to December 2004. The first phone call I made was to 920-864-7110. This phone is listed to a Bradley C. at Dr. Music DJ Service. No contact was made. All I got was a voice message machine. The second phone call I made was to 920-737-4731. This would be Teresa's cell phone, and the phone still went directly to her voicemail, indicating the voicemail was full. The next phone call was to 608-249-2111, which would be American Family Insurance, Madison, Wisconsin. They indicated to me at this point they could not provide me any immediate information, but would do some checking in regards to her local agent. The next call was to 608-320-0787. There I received a voice box, and it indicated the owner of the phone would be a Kate. I did leave a message on her pager to dial my cell phone, so I have the opportunity to speak with her. As of 11:05 a.m. on 11/04/05, I have not received anything back from her. The next call was to 920-965-6447. This was a fax machine. I also called the following three numbers: 920-849-9596, 920-497-2786, and 920-837-2649. These three numbers are also for fax machines. I then contacted 920-362-2813. The phone was answered by Jennifer Rosen. Jennifer lives in New London. The phone is that of a Green Bay phone based on her cell coverage. I asked her if she was familiar with Teresa Halbach, and she indicated to me no. I asked if there would be any reason why she thought Teresa might have contacted her or called her number, and she indicated they were trying to rent out a duplex, but she stated that would have been July. I then informed Jennifer of the business that Teresa was in, and she indicated to me that they did try and sell a truck back in July through Auto Trader, and that is when they possibly would have had phone contact with Teresa. but she does not remember the name offhand. Jennifer lives at 5862 Highway 54, New London, Wisconsin. The next phone call I made was to 920-531-1234. I received a voice message with a male's voice, and the name would have been Forstich. I did receive a message on the machine. The next call was to 920-837-2649. I received a fax machine. My next call was to 920-408-2820. I received a voicemail with no information on the voice message as to who the owner of the phone was. I placed a call to BOCA Raton, Florida. Boca Raton, Florida, at 561-988-5500. It should be noted there were 3 phone calls to Boca Raton. All 3 appeared to be that of a fax machine at this number. My next call was placed to 920-892-2390. This also was a fax machine. I then placed a call to 920-822-8211. I received a female party by the name of Kathy, who identified herself as working for Pulaski Vet Clinic. I asked Kathy if she was familiar with Teresa Halbach, and Kathy indicated she was a new employee at the vet clinic and was not familiar with the name. She did transfer me to a different individual who informed me they would check their records to see if they had dealt with Teresa and what for, and then would contact us back. It should be noted at approximately 11:10 a.m. on 11/04/05, Pulaski Vet Clinic did contact us back, indicating Teresa had a cat at their clinic at that time, and she was referred to the Sherwood Vet Clinic. My next call was to 920-403-8827. This was a fax machine. The next call was to 920-360-1506. I made contact with an individual by the name of Ben Mayer of 2423 Sycamore Drive, Apartment 3, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ben identified himself as being a friend of Teresa since college. I asked Ben when he had last seen Teresa, and he indicated to me he had seen her last approximately 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night at the Cocken Bull Bar. Main Street, Green Bay. He indicated that they do get together there fairly often. He indicated to me he was currently at work, and they would be getting together this afternoon with a bunch of friends to start putting out flyers for Teresa. I informed him I would give this information to one of our investigators, and they may be contacting him shortly. My next call was to 920-360-4836. I made contact with the voice message box, but there was no name attached to the box. My next call was to 920-499-4815 to a Heimern Printing in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I spoke with a John who indicated to me he was not familiar with Teresa, but she may have done some business with them at some point in some time. I informed him Teresa was a photographer, and based on their printing business, they may have done some business. He indicated to me if he found anything pertinent, he would contact us immediately. My last phone call was to 920-246-8025. I received a voice machine with no information. Page 37. The phone calls were starting approximately 9:48 a.m. on 11/04/05, and I completed the phone calls shortly before 11 o'clock a.m. on 11/04/05. Lieutenant Kelly Sipple, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 38. Type of activity: contact with Rachel J. Haggs. Date of activity: 11/04/05. Reporting officer: Investigator John Dietering. Documents generated: none. On Friday, 11/04/05 at 1100 hours, Captain Paul Rush brought me information regarding a phone call he had taken from Rachel Haggs, who was employed with Auto Trader. I did call the phone number for Auto Trader, 414-425-8675, and did speak with the following individual, Rachel J. Haggs. Mrs. Haggs advised me that someone named Dawn, who works for Auto Trader, stated she had overheard that Steven Avery had called on yesterday's date, 11:03:05, between 4:30 and 5 o'clock p.m. approximately. But Steven needed to reschedule the appointment with the photographer. Steven indicated that the photographer had not made the scheduled meeting on Monday, 10/31/05. According to Rachel, Steven indicated that the photographer, Teresa, had called and indicated that she could not make the Monday appointment. According to Rachel, there is a record for an appointment with Yonda on the 31st of October. Rachel went on to indicate that Steven stated Teresa had contacted him on Monday about this matter. Rachel indicated that a subject named Scott had called Steven regarding Teresa Halbach, and apparently was under the impression Steven was not happy about being accused of stuff. Rachel went on to indicate that she had learned Steven Avery had made inappropriate comments to Teresa in the past, and further had come out of the house on a previous occasion wearing only a towel. Investigation continues. Page 40. Type of activity, supplemental report. Date of activity, 11:04:05. Reporting officer, investigator Wendy Baldwin. On 11:04:05, I, investigator Baldwin of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, was requested to report to the Sheriff's Department to assist with a missing person complaint. I was informed by Investigator Weger of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department that we were attempting to locate a Teresa M. Halbach, date of birth 03/22/80. Investigator Weger informed me that Teresa's mother, Karen, had reported her missing the day before at approximately 1700 hours. Teresa was last heard from on 10/31/05 in the early afternoon hours. I was requested by Investigator Weger and Sheriff Pagel to prepare subpoenas for Teresa's cellular history, financial records, as well as her home phone company. I did receive via account information for Teresa's financial records and prepared a subpoena for M&I Bank to receive those records. A subpoena was also prepared for Cellular cell phone for the information on Teresa's account as well as other information needed. There was also a subpoena prepared for TDS Phone Company to obtain the records for Teresa's home phone line. These subpoenas were prepared by the District Attorney's Office and the appropriate signatures were obtained. I did return the subpoena to M&I Bank in Chilton and did receive copies of Teresa's financial records. The other two subpoenas were turned over to Investigator Dienering to have faxed to the appropriate departments. Investigator Weger had made contact with Kurt Drum from Lakeshore Aviation. Investigator Weger did inquire with Kurt if it would be possible to accompany him in an airplane in order to do a flyover of the last known location of Teresa. At approximately 13:19 hours, Sheriff Pagel and I arrived at Lakeshore Aviation. We met with Kurt Drum and proceeded to fly over the last two known locations where Teresa Halbach had been on 10/31/05. We searched the area until approximately 17:54 hours. Investigator Wendy Baldwin, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. All right, guys, that concludes our read for this day and part 4. So with that, you guys, let's go back up a minute. There was some things in here that really, it's so frustrating, this case, because we hear one thing, then the next time we read a different report, it's completely different. So let me see if I can scroll back up here. So, yeah, my train. Welcome to my train station. Something about Bradley you guys should know. He actually ended up getting a restraining order filed against him by Casey. And 5 days later, Bradley did file for divorce. So this is this gentleman that we keep hearing about, this DJ guy. And so if Teresa is seeing him, and then she's having to go to court over this naked pictures and such. Here it is. She had taken of the two of them naked. Wow. Did Teresa come between the two of them? That's a question, because like I said, 5 days later, after restraining order, Casey files for divorce. And what's interesting is October 28, 2005. Let's see, if Monday was the 31st, then Sunday would be 30th, Saturday would have been 29th, so Friday would have been Bradley Scheck's final divorce day. So his divorce would have been final on that Friday. Interesting. And then I think it's interesting that Jolene is quite aware of these pictures that is in this trunk. And that's interesting to me. And as we scroll through this real quick, I think it's also very interesting that they're having such a difficult time getting phone records and such. They should have known to get the subpoenas ready before they did the monkey business of just asking for somebody's information. You still have to follow the rules, believe it or not. I mean, not that you can tell that in any other part of this case. Also here, if you look, the next phone call was to 608-249-2111, which would be American Family Insurance. I'm kind of curious right here on this. Is this the part where possibly she has actually called in an accident and it just never hit the paperwork because she had made the call and maybe didn't get all the details out? I don't know. I just find it interesting that she calls American Family Insurance. What if it's about car insurance because she's had an accident? Let's see, what else did I want to talk about real quick? A lot of fax machines were being used, and some of them going to Florida. I just don't understand, and I know other supporters have said the same thing. Why would Auto Trader be running their business out of Florida all the way up in Wisconsin? We heard in the last, in part 3, where we were doing 21 through 30, that Jason Zipper was saying he had not even listed the car anywhere, nor had he called Auto Trader. But then again, he said he was home all day when he was actually at school. So he wouldn't have known if she was on property or not. And then let's see, what else did we want to talk about? This is kind of interesting. I asked Ben when he had seen Teresa, and he indicated to me he had seen her approximately 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night at the Cock and Bull Bar. This was in Green Bay. So she is going out to a lot of bars, and, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, that does put you in a predicament if you are a single woman. So it's not advisable, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And then let's see, was there anything else that we wanted to cover before we let this go? A little bit different way to do this. It's a lot clearer. My voice is easier to understand. It's a little bit louder, so it does fix a lot of the problems, but it's not as pretty to look at. But hey, in a way it is, because it's a lot clearer to read. So this is that Rachel Higgs, who was employed at Auto Trader. I didn't quite understand this. She's talking about Stephen Schmidt had to reschedule, or Sipple, yeah. It was Stephen Sipple that needed to reschedule the appointment with the photographer, not Steven Avery. So it wasn't Steven Avery calling in to Dawn and saying, hey, we need to reschedule. Obviously, it was Stephen Schmidt or Sipple, because they're the ones that it was Sipple that had to be rescheduled. According to Rachel, Stephen indicated that the photographer, Teresa Halbach, had called and indicated that she could not make the Monday appointment. Well, we know that is not true for Steven Avery. So let's continue on down to our last few pages, or our last page actually. And here we have the introduction of Wendy Baldwin, and you're going to hear that name a lot in this case now. So she was running around getting the subpoenas for the phone records and the banks and financial statements, and Wiegert was, I believe Mrs. Baldwin was also later we'll find out was on this flight as well. But I know that Sheriff Pagel and Wendy Baldwin, yeah, because she's the one doing the report, and it says I arrived. So Sheriff Pagel and Wendy Baldwin were the one that did the flyover together. And Kurt Drum, what is it, Drum? Just Drum? Yep. They were the ones up there. So this is the supplemental point 110405. So on the 4th, Wendy Baldwin and Sheriff Pagel did that. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us on this new series of, oh, it just lost my mind. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm still going at it. I'm so addicted to this case because I want these guys home and not to have to think about this anymore. But let's go ahead and let's do this. So, if you didn't do the crime, you shouldn't do the time. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.